Welcome back to Monday Morning here on Cable Pulse 24. I'm David Onley. Share the Warmth is a unique charity operation that's the first to harness the power of the internet to deliver services. Joining us with a closer look is Edward de Gale, Executive Director of Share the Warmth. Edward, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, David.
I guess when it comes to this cold weather, a lot of us just go to the temperature, the thermostat in our home or apartment, dial it up and increase the heat and don't think anything of it. But there's a lot of people who just can't do that.
Absolutely. I think wintertime is really a time when people really become very conscious of the weather. Going from your house to your car, from your car to your office, the whole idea of block heaters. The idea that some people have the luxury, and it is a luxury, to be able to turn up the heating conditions and be warm throughout the winter. But there are an awful lot of households, and upwards of 30,000 households a year in Ontario alone have their service terminated for various reasons.
Wow.
And it's something that is both a function of the market and a function of the economy that we're living in.
So what does Share the Warmth do to help those people who either have had the heat turned off or are about to or just are not able to afford it?
Share the Warmth is a program that began in 1995. It was a concept started by Osgoode Hall Law students. The idea was to purchase energy on behalf of low-income households, whether they be seniors, families, terminally ill or disabled households in Ontario. It started in Toronto, went to Cambridge in 1998, and in 1999 was recently expanded to 81 municipalities across central and eastern Ontario. The idea is that families in need can get referred by their utility company to a local community social service agency. They can go down to that agency, often an agency that has some credibility in the community, it's been there quite a long time, make an application for assistance, and essentially that information is then transferred onto a secure website that the agency has a password for, and they can online apply for assistance for the person in their office. So it's a real-time response to a situation that often takes weeks or months to solve.
It's a fascinating process here because when we think of people, young children in particular, going hungry, we do have the food banks, an imperfect solution, but it does provide an important solution to a problem. And yet I guess we think of the food banks, you know, certainly in the Christmas time and the holiday seasons, etc. But I guess in this country, and especially this city where there is so much wealth, we don't tend to think of heat being a problem for many people.
Absolutely. I think that the food banks are a good example. They were a temporary solution that's now become pretty much a fixture in our community, and I think that's driven by need. Well, we found some very disturbing facts when we looked into the scope of the problem. Utility costs are the second leading economic cause of homelessness in this country.
Really?
After rent, the most significant cost a household has is utility costs. People often move into baseboard heated apartments in June or July with very inexpensive rents, but find by December and January that their utility costs may exceed their rent. And if they aren't able to keep the power on in that home, they have to move. You cannot keep children going to bed in winter coats and sweaters and scarves and hope that, you know, the house can be lit by candles. It just can't be done.
And unfortunately, when you do hear tragedies that occur every winter, and it oftentimes does involve some faulty product, and you know, when you hear these stories, you wonder, well, what were they doing with this, you know, a baseboard heater on, or, you know, candles or something like that. But then it starts to give you some insight, this conversation, as to why potentially some of those things happen.
Absolutely. I think people often look at events and say, how could this happen? And they don't look at what led up to the event. And I think what poverty really means in Ontario is limited choices.
Yes.
A family will pay their rent, may have to decide between food and clothing that month. Or next month they may have to decide between utility costs and whether or not they can go to and from a job that they're trying to keep. And when you have the increased costs in terms of rising inflation, it's a difficult circumstance for anybody, but I think our program provides a modest amount of assistance. It doesn't wipe out your entire bill. It'll pay a percentage of your costs going forward. It also provides warmth in such a way that the community's dollars stay in the community. Dollars raised in Toronto help families in Toronto. Dollars raised in Ottawa-Carleton stay in Ottawa-Carleton. It's a program which is really about local decision-making, but using the internet, we connect to a larger system which allows us to collect money collectively and distribute it where the need is greatest.
Now, how do you raise the money? I mean, people listening perhaps for the first time have become aware that there is a problem. How can they help?
Absolutely. We have partners in Toronto through Enbridge Consumers Gas and through Toronto Hydro. You can look in both their bill envelopes for an insert which will explain our program and how you can donate. 100% of all public donations are converted into energy, so every dollar donated by the public is used to buy energy. You can make a phone call, 1-900-565-WARM, 1-900-565-9276, and make a donation on the telephone to come off your bell bill.
Sure.
Or you can log on
that's a
to
very easy way. I should emphasize to people who have never done this. You call the 1-900 number, not 800, 900, 565-WARM. Spell out the words, you can do it. And then it's straight onto your bill.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to worry about giving your credit card information, anything like that. It's just pow onto the bill, and you've done something.
And we'll issue a tax receipt in about 6 weeks' time.
Oh,
it's
really?
very
Tax
clean.
receipt as well?
Tax receipt as well.
Okay.
It's very clean. And Bell works hard to make the service available. If you've made a mistake, they'll allow you to charge it back and so on and so forth. So I think it's really the easiest method. It allows you to donate across Canada, anywhere you are. You can donate for the same price. There's no long distance or toll fees. And frankly, 100% of all donations that come in through all our sources are used to buy, all public sources are used to purchase energy. And I think when you realize that a dollar's donation is a dollar's worth of power, it's a pretty powerful.
Sure is.
Yeah,
that's really something. And so those of us who are looking at this month's energy bill can realize that with a simple phone call, you can have a big impact on people's lives.
Absolutely.
Edward, it's been great to have you here. We'll look to talk to you later on and get something of an update on the progress of the whole program.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. We've been talking with Edward de Gale, Executive Director of Share the Warmth. And that ends this half hour of Money Morning. Stay with us. We're back in 2 minutes with more of the day's business news.